Those are people who want to use you because they don't have a genuine interest in you. They have an interest in you sort of standing there while they dump all of their stuff on you. Okay, hi everybody. Thanks for coming back if you've been here before, or hi, welcome if you're new. My name's Mickey. I'm a therapist and we talk about therapy things on this channel. And today we're talking about how to know if you're getting used in your relationships. Sometimes people call this being in a relationship with an energy vampire. So we're talking about those things today because there are a couple of telltale signs in a relationship that is mostly for somebody else's benefit and not your benefit that we need to look out for. I also have details about an exciting giveaway later, so stay tuned for that. But first and foremost, let's talk about what it looks like when somebody is using you, is sucking the life out of you and like really abusing your emotional availability. Okay, the first thing that we want to look out for is if you're getting emotional drive-by'd. This is, I know, kind of a weird phrase. Erin and I use this phrase a lot because I think it's a very accurate depiction of what it looks like when somebody is just sort of dumping stuff in your lap without your consent. Often this will be pretty heavy emotional disclosures or really bad news, or if somebody's having a really bad day, they will just dump this stuff in your lap without a consent check-in, no warning. It really is just being treated like you're an emotional dumpster, which is obviously really bad. That feels really shitty. This can also look like somebody just needing you at a moment's notice and really expecting that you will be there, or the relationship just being sort of structured in this way that if they need something, that you're there. And especially sometimes if they need something and you need to be there and like, let's say you're not available, that then there's an even larger meltdown about how could you do this to me? Or, they're sort of cold shouldering you sometimes. It's not healthy for a relationship to be structured in this way. I just want to be very clear about that from a clinical perspective. When we have good boundaries in a relationship, first and foremost, no one should be expecting that they can dump really heavy emotional disclosures in your lap without your consent or without checking in with you. Okay, real quick, I want to talk to you guys about this week's sponsor, which is Bellesa. You guys know that we love Bellesa around here because they're a by women, for women company whose goal is to empower everybody to embrace, explore, and celebrate their sexuality. And I have to show you guys these because the big brains at Bellesa came up with something that they call Whisper technology. There are 3 new toys in the Whisper collection. Hold on, I dropped one because it's Whittle. So we have the Whisper Vibe, the Whisper Rabbit, and the Whisper Bullet. I have to be honest with you. These are like genuinely silent. I don't understand how they did that, but it's amazing because these at full power, you can't hear them. It's so cool. So these toys, obviously, they come in a variety of sizes. They're the same powerful technology that you're used to from Bellesa toys. They're also the same luxurious and soft body-safe silicone on the outside, by the way, but they are much more discreet, much more incognito, if you will. And so, of course, my friends at Bellesa and I have to hook it up doing a giveaway. Everybody who enters my giveaway will win a free Whisper Vibe or a free Rose toy with a Whisper Vibe purchase. So let me talk to you about these toys. Okay, so first of all, I think everybody should have a reliable and go-to Bullet Vibe. This is it. It has 5 speeds. It is tiny. It's literally inaudible, but the power on this thing, nuts. We love her. The Whisper Rabbit and the Whisper Vibe both have 6 vibration speeds. And the Whisper Vibe is going to give you that G-spot stimulation like you're probably familiar with. But the Whisper Rabbit has an independent and adjustable clitoral stimulation and G-spot stimulation on here. Both of these are amazing. And they have the same intuitive controls that Bellesa toys usually have, which obviously we know I'm a big fan of those. Truly, I don't understand how they did this, but I have to share this with you guys. So everybody who enters the giveaway will win a free Whisper Vibe, like I said, or a free Rose toy with the Whisper purchase. So go click that link in the description, grab your new vibrator, show some big love to yourself, to Bellesa, for showing love to me. Thank you very much to Bellesa for sponsoring this week's video. Let's just go ahead and hop back in. I want to be clear about this as well. I know this can bring up some questions because people often, if you're on this channel, you're likely part of the demographic that rather than being the emotional dumper, you're the emotional dumpy. But we can sometimes be very hypervigilant about ourselves in wondering, like, am I the emotional dumper, right? And I want to encourage you to be, first of all, like, cautious about assigning any big labels to yourself or to anybody else, really. This video is broad strokes education. It's just a few things that I can impart. I can't be your therapist or anyone else's therapist on this platform because that's not how it works. But if we are talking to somebody that we love, right? And sharing deep or heavy things about ourselves or our trauma or, our family or whatever, that doesn't necessarily make you an emotional drive-byer, right? I want to be very clear that healthy relationships do include disclosures about trauma, about healthy or heavy, emotional things, about deep conversations and scary stuff and all these things, right? It's normal. I would argue it's encouraged to have conversations like that in a relationship. And ideally, we're not doing this in a way that only centers one person's comfort, right? If we are talking about our traumas or heavy emotional stuff without even an attempt at a check-in with someone about whether they're up for that or whether they have space for that or whether they're okay with that, that's what emotional drive-bying looks like, especially when we're doing this repeatedly, right? If we're doing this again and again and again, or somebody is doing this to you again and again and again, and you're noticing that they don't really seem to care what I'm up to, what I have going on, right? Maybe I had a really fucking shitty day and they started calling or they called me or texted me just apropos of nothing and started in on all of this scary, heavy emotional disclosures that I didn't ask for, that I didn't even know was happening. And now my emotions have to get pushed to the back burner, right? That's kind of the key sign here that somebody is using you for your emotional labor, your emotional availability, because really this isn't someone who actually cares about you. This is someone who cares about you being available for them. Okay, the second thing we want to look out for is if you feel worse after spending time with them rather than better. And I want to be clear, don't go running around and telling everybody that they're an energy vampire. Don't go around labeling people because you simply, one time, didn't feel better after hanging out with them. But if you notice in a patterned way that consistently you need time to debrief or to unpack after you have hung out with them, that's a bad sign. Because I want to be clear, I'm not really a fan of the idea that relationships should be like a tit for tat, perfect reciprocal kind of thing. In my opinion, that can get a little bit toxic for what it's worth. But in healthy relationships, generally, there's gonna be some amount of give and take. And so if you find yourself being the person who is taking on everybody else's shit, who is being receptive and being there and being available for this person to, again, dump on you, like we just talked about, but they're never available to support you, to uplift you, to make you feel cared for, this person is likely using you, right? And I want to be also very clear that they might not know that they're using you. They might not be doing this on purpose. It might not be that this person is waking up every morning and be like, I'm going to use these. That's probably not the case. It's likely just an unconscious pattern of behaviors that is toxic and that they might not be aware of. We're going to talk about that in a second. But if you find yourself consistently needing a space to offload the stuff that they have put in your lap afterwards, this is a very bad sign. People who are invested in having a healthy and safe and loving relationship with you should not be people that you need to unpack from every time that you talk to them. And this goes for friendships and familial relationships, romantic partnerships, across the board. If you are consistently needing support in order to participate in this relationship with this other person, bad sign. The third thing that I want to encourage you to be aware of is if nothing is ever their fault. And sometimes actually they'll turn this into a thing where everything is actually your fault instead. This is all bad. This is one of the signs that can start to veer more into abuse than it is just generally toxic behavior. But for what it's worth, it's important to be aware of nonetheless, because if this person who is allergic to accountability is never willing to hear you out about their mistakes or their shitty behavior or, just not really being receptive to that healthy give and take we talked about, then we have an issue. We talked just a second ago about how in this type of relationship with somebody who's an energy vampire might find yourself needing to unpack and process what's going on after they've dumped all of this shit on you. If you try to confront this person about that, it will often turn into a sort of woe is me conversation about how it's not their fault and that's not fair that you would try to hold them accountable because they have all of this stuff going on, right? This can sometimes turn into actually just another repeated emotional drive-by, dump in your lap kind of a thing by saying, well, I can't be held accountable because I have, X, Y, and Z bad things that are going on in my life. And for A, B, and C reasons, that's not my fault. And so therefore, you're actually being really mean to me by saying that I'm not supporting you in this relationship. And how dare you try to pile on while I'm going through this really difficult time. And so actually, this is your fault. You see what I'm saying about how sometimes this can turn into this weird sort of backwards, like, what are you talking about? That's not really fair. And especially if you leave that conversation or interaction with this person where you're trying to advocate for yourself, if you leave that feeling kind of confused and like, I don't feel like I was heard at all, actually, and like none of the things that I wanted to bring up got addressed, this is a bad sign. People who are invested in being a loving and caring person for you should not avoid taking accountability all the time, right? It's fair. Sometimes we're just going through it, right? Sometimes people are really genuinely having a fucking terrible time, especially right now. Fair enough. And if that person is never willing to own accountability for anything, then this is starting to feel, again, like an indication that we have a pattern that is likely not going to change. The next thing that I want you to be aware of is that if you are not available to essentially be used, that they don't have time for you. This to me is the telltale sign. If they don't have time for you because you're not able to be the emotional dumping ground, that tells us a lot about what they view the relationship as and what their primary intention is in spending time with you, right? Because we all deserve to be in relationships with folks who love and enjoy and value us for who we are as people, right? Not for the service that we provide them. Your value on this earth is not to be of service to other people. It's not to mother other people, to caregive other people, to be the helping hand for somebody all the time. You deserve to have people lift you up, right? You deserve to have people who want to hang out with you because you're funny, because you're cool, and because you have interesting thoughts about politics and social events and sports and music and, I don't know, stuff, right? Like things that are part of life. You deserve to have people who care about you for all of these multifaceted reasons and not simply because you exist to be an emotional dumping ground that they can just like word vomit all over and then bounce. That's not okay. So if you notice that when you say, oh no, I'm busy, right? I don't know, I have stuff going on, that they then are like, okay, and find someone else to just emotional dumping ground their stuff on. And this happens again in a very patterned way, again and again. This is really starting to be a warning sign to me that this person might not view you as a friend or as a loved one, as like a cherished family member, or especially not as a romantic partner that they respect and value, but rather that you sort of exist to be symbolic of the service that you're providing them, which is not okay. That's a very dehumanizing way to view people. And then, we're not really having a relationship anymore, are we? We're more so having like a contractual agreement. This honestly starts to kind of mirror the relationships that folks have with a therapist, but just without all of the healthy boundaries, without the contract, without all of the pre-established healthy and safe norms that keep that relationship a safe one. This last thing is controversial, and I saved it for last for this reason. I know that a bunch of you are going to be mad at me about this. That's fine. Everyone is allowed to feel how they feel. Your feelings are welcome and valid on this channel. You're welcome to put them in the comments and to express to me if you're upset or frustrated. And I stand by the point that I'm about to make because it's important. If somebody is the crisis friend, right? The friend who is never able to regulate themselves enough to be supportive of you, excited for you, uplifting for you, interested in you, because they're always in crisis, we might have a problem. I want to be clear that people who are genuinely just going through it, right? People who struggle with disability, people who are struggling with social and economical and greater social context things right now. People who are victims of marginalization. It can often come off that way, but I want to be clear. When folks are genuinely just going through it, that's not who I'm talking about. Those are not the crisis friends. When I say that if somebody is the crisis friend, what I mean is this person who, even when they aren't going through it, right? Even when they do have a calm moment or a still moment, that they choose not to provide you with any amount of support or love or encouragement or reciprocity or kindness or interest or anything that's part of a good and healthy relationship, those people are the crisis friends. Because even when we're struggling, when we're going through it, when we're having a really bad time, the people that we love are people that we are still interested in, right? The people that we care about and want to have a part of our lives are people that we still want to know about their lives. We still want to celebrate their victories in whatever capacity we can, right? So when I say that somebody is the crisis friend, like if someone is the crisis friend, that's a red flag. What I mean is that this person, if they are constantly having disasters and crises, and those things prevent them from being interested, able, wanting to be supportive of you, be celebratory of you, be kind to you, be interested in you, that's a red flag. People who are genuine friends to you, people who are genuine loved ones to you, or genuine, healthy family members or a healthy romantic partner, those people, even amidst crisis, will be able to say, thank you for supporting me. Is there anything you want to talk about? Tell me about your day. Or thank you for supporting me. I saw that you posted on Instagram that, I don't know, you had a nice day the other day. That looked really fun. I saw you posted a latte on Instagram the other day and it looked really nice, right? Where did you get that from? Even the most small, seemingly menial attempt at interest and engagement in your life is something that matters. And when we have this kind of, again, sort of loose reciprocity, those people are not crisis friends. But if somebody is a crisis friend who constantly has these bad things happening and that prevents them from being able to show up for you in any form or fashion, that's a red flag. So be aware of that, especially again, if it's happening in a patterned way. If you look back over the course of your friendship, over the course of your relationship with this person, over the course of your romantic interest with this person, and you realize, I don't think that they've ever really asked about me. I don't think that they know anything about me if I haven't been the one to put it in their lap, right? If I haven't been the one to force them to hear about it or to listen about it, they wouldn't know about it. That's not a good sign. Those are people who want to use you because they don't have a genuine interest in you. They have an interest in you sort of standing there while they dump all of their stuff on you. I know that everyone's going to have thoughts about this. There are also more signs that somebody is potentially being a user. So if you guys want me to talk about more of them, let me know. I thought this was a good place for us to start because these are some pretty telltale red flags. Again, be kind to yourself and to other people in your life. We're all going through it right now. And so one of these things occurring doesn't mean that you're a user or that somebody else is a user. Oftentimes we want to assess this as is this a pattern, right? So be aware of that. Be kind to yourself, to others. That said, if you like the video, you can like the video and subscribe. We do talk about stuff like this, and we also talk about pop culture things that I'd love to have you stay for. And then you can share the video to help the channel grow and to help each other grow. And I will see you guys next Saturday. Okay, bye.